The solar wind. The solar wind is caused due to the high activity of the sun. And we can see this during a period that rises and decreases and increases during an 11 years period, and we will see this period in the coming slides. So constant flows of particles from the sun have the velocity approximately 300 to 800 kilometers per second, and the sun is constantly losing mass 10 power 7 tons per year, which is 10 power negative 14 of its mass per year. Okay. The solar interior is opaque. It absorbs lights out to the photosphere. Only way to investigate solar interior is through helioseismology, analysis of vibration patterns visible on the solar surface. It's approximately 10 million wave patterns. Okay, the sunspots, which are, as we said, the function that can tell us about the solar activity. What are sunspots? They are cooler regions of the photosphere. The temperature are equals to 4240 kelvins. We said that the photosphere is almost 6000 kelvins. Only appear dark against the bright sun, would still be brighter than the full moon when placed on the night sky. So as we said, this is how sunspots appear in the visible spectrum, but this is how they look like in the ultraviolet spectrum. They are active regions. And this is the solar activity seen in the soft X-rays. Okay, magnetic fields in the sunspots. Magnetic fields on the photosphere can be measured through the Zeeman effects. Sunspots are related to magnetic activity on the photosphere. Magnetic fields in the sunspots is about 1,000 times stronger than the average. In sunspots, magnetic field lines emerge out of the photosphere. So any magnet has a north pole and a magnetic south pole, and they has magnetic lines. And other stars might have also spots activity. So the solar cycle is a cycle of 11 years, and during this 11 years the number of the sunspots increase and decrease, but it's not always doesn't always have the same peak. This peak changes from time to time, but we have a wave almost like a sinusoidal waves, but the sinusoidal goes to negative, but this doesn't go to negative. So the sunspots can tell us the activity. So the higher the sunspots, the higher the magnetic field, the activity of the sun. Okay. The sun rotates faster at the equator than near the poles, and that's, as we said before in the previous lecture, that's because we need to make the sun all rotate at the same time, so we need the equators to revolve faster. And this differential rotation might be responsible for magnetic activity of the sun, because magnetic field lines start to revolve with the north and south, and this causes the overlapping of the magnetic lines on the sun, causing different magnetic activity. And this can explain the 11 years cycle, because after 11 years the magnetic field pattern becomes so complex that the field structure is rearranged. New magnetic field structure is similar to the original but reversed. New 11 years cycle starts with reversed magnetic field orientation. Loops, prominence is gas ejected from the sun's photosphere flowing along magnetic loops. Relatively cool gas, 60,000 to 80,000 kelvins, and they may be seen as dark filaments against the bright background of the photosphere. So as you see, there are flares that can appear in the ultraviolet imaging, and this is the size of the Earth compared to the filaments, to the flares, sorry. And during the activity of the sun, it ejaculates lots of its mass in form of particles, charged particles, and those particles can't get through the magnetic field of the Earth at the north poles. They are usually deflected by the and reflected by the Earth magnetic field, but at the north poles they can be they can penetrate and be seen as the solar aurora. So the energy production in the sun is caused due to nuclear fusion, fusing together two or more lighter nuclei to produce heavier ones. So it's the binding energy due to the strong force on short range, strongest of the four known forces: electromagnetic, weak, strong, and gravitational. Nuclear fusion can produce energy up to the production of iron. For elements heavier than iron, energy is gained by the nuclear fission. So this is the mechanism of how energy is produced. For each, for hydrogen, H2 hydrogen, they fuse, and the cycle goes on this way. They produce helium, and helium produces other elements this way. The solar interior cannot be observed directly because it is highly opaque to radiation, but neutrinos can penetrate huge amounts of material without being absorbed. Early solar neutrino experiments detected a much lower flux of neutrinos than expected. The solar neutrino problem. Recent results have proven that neutrinos change oscillates between different types, which is flavor that's solving the solar neutrino problem.